day everyone, my name is Abram Theodore and today we are going to be discussing the film Pulp Fiction. As you know, Pulp Fiction is a classic, one of the best of modern cinema. Directed by Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction is that special film that seems to resonate with its present culture and audience like no other. Its non-linear, postmodern, and humorous presentation of simple crime stories is fresh, unique, and original. Original in the sense that never before has a film so blatantly referenced pulp culture and filled itself up with references, nods, homages, and tributes. It is a style of storytelling that is later finding its way into other popular films such as Scream and maybe even The Matrix, even though the latter was less upfront and more serious about its homages. In narrative film, shooting techniques play an important role in the story, and it can be done in a variety of methods. For a non-linear format, which gives the audience an opportunity to try and piece together what is happening, there are also some ambiguous moments in the film that are left to the interpretation of the average viewer. A very good example of this would be the famous briefcase scene where one of the main characters, Vincent, opens it and stares inside the briefcase without giving a hint on what it could be inside. On the topic of film techniques, there has been a continuous evolvement of the methods used in the film process. There are numerous types of shots that are utilized in this film, such as the establishing shot, the close-up shots, medium shots, and the extreme close-up shot. For example, the establishing shot is designed to set up the next scene and establish the relationship between the characters and the object, as well as the relationship between the environment. The close-up shot is a film shot taken of a person or item at close range in order to portray high detail to an audience. For the film Pulp Fiction, there are a few theories that can be applied when analyzing the movie and its characteristics. Semiotics is a film theory that can be used to define Pulp Fiction, as it refers to the relationship between a sign, an object, and a meaning. For example, in the film, one of the main characters, Jules, recites a biblical passage during the build-up to the impending execution of someone. It is implied that there is a meaning from the passage, as it also is read 3 times throughout the film. However, there are differences in the way each one is read, which is symbolic of the transformation of the character Jules as he goes through change in the story. Another theory that could be added to Pulp Fiction would be apparatus theory, as it relates to ideological aspects of cinema which can be seen in the film. The codes and conventions within Pulp Fiction are similarly aligned with the gangster genre, although it does not follow the traditional narrative structure used. They also pay respect to previous genres and films. Finally, there is extensive use of the uses and gratification theory, which I believe fits in very well in the context of Pulp Fiction. There is a certain amount of violence depicted within the crime story, and it takes place out of chronological order. Therefore, it would be targeted towards an audience that should find it appealing. Throughout the film, there is extensive collaboration between Quentin Tarantino and his cinematographer, who is actually well known for his previous involvement with Tarantino in the previous film Reservoir Dogs. He has played around a lot with unconventional framing and composition. Take for example, the dialogue between Marcellus Wallace and Butch Coolidge early in the film. It is chosen to be framed in a perfectly conventional over-the-shoulder shot, but he chooses to focus on the backside of Wallace's head instead of the face of Butch. By doing that, he forces us to focus on that bald head with a mysterious band-aid and wonder what the guy looks like. It's such an effective way to suggest the mystery and danger surrounding Marcellus Wallace. Also, there is the surreal choice to film the entire dialogue scene between Butch and the cab driver in such an obvious fake rear projection setup, which gives the scene an incredibly cool stylistic atmosphere. Tarantino plays with the sense of a staged reality several times during the movie, which further heightens its postmodern pulpy style. The tricky thing to play with those techniques and not lose the character and emotion of the story is very difficult to do. Stylizing shots creates distance between the story and the viewer and makes the film appear to be more as art when you become aware of its constructed reality. That's often the problem with self-referencing and postmodern movies. You can lose your emotional connection to the story. But Tarantino has managed to underplay it just enough and has appeared to be fully in his game, as Pulp Fiction survives on its own characters and narrative. One of the scenes in which the film uses editing, cinematography, mise-en-scene, and sound to effectively warn the audience of certain coming events, inform them of hidden character traits, and create suspense and anticipation, is the one in which Vincent goes to Wallace's house to pick up Mia for the night. The scene begins with a tracking shot of Vince walking up to the glass front door, in which his body makes a dark, shadowy silhouette, and finding a note taped to it. There is then a close-up of the note accompanied by Mia Wallace's voice-over narration of its contents. The second Vincent enters the Wallace's house. Many of Tarantino's choices regarding mise-en-scene are apparent. The first overtly noticeable thing is the house's color scheme. Nearly everything that is visible is white. This includes the couch, the lamps, the carpets, the walls, and even Mia's shirt. To accentuate this stark white color scheme even further, the scene employs high-key front lighting. This is ironic because generally in film language, white is closely associated with purity, and yet the inhabitants of this particular home, Mia and Marcellus Wallace, are anything but innocent. One is a crack addict, while another is a hard-headed mob boss. In addition to this, such a color scheme also creates juxtaposition between Vincent, who is wearing a black suit, and the rest of the house. This shows that he doesn't belong at the house, and may be foreshadowing the fact that something bad will happen if he stays there. While Vince is walking around the house for the first time, and Mia watches him via a camera viewing station, it is worth noting that throughout the entire scene, we never fully see Mia's face. We see her lips when she talks into the intercom, her arms when she is in the intercom room, the back of her head when she snorts crack, and her feet when she goes downstairs, but never a full shot of her body or face. This creates even more confusion because the audience has no idea what she looks like. This tells us that Mia is a very complex character who doesn't like to show her true self to others and hides behind many different walls. All of this creates anticipation for the next scene in the film. After close analysis, it is quite evident that Tarantino uses editing, sound, and set design to establish certain character traits in Mia and Vincent that foreshadow forthcoming events and create suspense within the audience. So there you have it, Pulp Fiction, which is a masterpiece by almost all standards, as it makes supreme use of cinematic techniques such as mise-en-scene, editing, sound, and lighting throughout to inform, control, and entertain the audience to make the film stand out, and is the main reason why it has still been revered today. Even now, after Tarantino has directed 5 more films, almost all of which are well reviewed, Pulp Fiction remains his most popular and acclaimed. It is also his most stylized film and can serve as a reminder to all about how through extreme attention and manipulation of detail, filmmakers can incite, upset, and ultimately influence us. Thank you very much for watching.